What is up, guys? Delboy here. So we have a new WBC and lineal light heavyweight champion of the world. Oleksandr Gvozdyk defeats Adonis Stevenson by a 11th round stoppage. Really good fight. I thoroughly enjoyed this fight. Credit to both fighters. They put on a show. You know, both guys showed some mettle. Both guys got caught with some big shots at times. And it was a really enjoyable fight. In the first couple of rounds, I actually felt Stevenson looked quite good. He was taking the initiative. The left hand was looking nice and quick. A couple of those straight left hands got through. Gvozdyk was blocking quite a few of those left hands with a high guard, but you know, a couple of those shots were getting through. And to his credit, Gvozdyk, you know, he was taking these shots quite well. That's what I was worried about going into this fight. I've never really been sold on Gvozdyk's chin, and I've always felt he has lapses in concentration in fights, and I felt that could potentially cost him against a big puncher like Adonis Stevenson, but you know, he was concentrating throughout this fight very well. But in the first couple of rounds, I felt Stevenson looked quite good. He looked quick. Gvozdyk wasn't really throwing much. Stevenson, you know, he was trying to set traps. You know, for example, he'll take a half step back, try to make Gvozdyk fall in, and he'll try and land that straight left hand. Yeah, and in the first couple of rounds, I felt Stevenson looked good. Round 3, Gvozdyk came out much more aggressive. He actually knocked Adonis Stevenson down in this round with a good counter right hand, bang on the chin, really well timed shot. But the referee called it a slip, or the feet. He said that Gvozdyk was stepping on Stevenson's feet maybe, but you know, nothing of that nature happened. It was a clear knockdown, and yeah, round 3 should have been a 10-8 round. Gvozdyk boxing really well, but Stevenson did recover quite well in that round also, and he did land a couple of good left hands. Round 4, Adonis Stevenson's output drops considerably in round 4. Gvozdyk is looking a lot more confident. He's boxing well. He's using that jab a bit more. His side-to-side movement is keeping Stevenson off balance. You know, he'll be pivoting away, and you know, Stevenson is falling short with that straight left hand. Gvozdyk is boxing really well in round 4. Round 5, again, Gvozdyk is doing a good job of moving away from Stevenson's left hand. Yeah, the side-to-side movement is just keeping Adonis off balance, and you know, Gvozdyk is picking up these rounds based on activity and, you know, being the ring general. Round 6, Stevenson actually starts this round quite well. He lands a couple of hard left hands to the body, straight lefts. A lot more aggressive in this round. He's trying to up the ante, but Gvozdyk is still boxing well. You know, he's still making Stevenson miss quite a bit, and you know, he's having his own success. Round 7, Gvozdyk boxed very well in this round, moving around Stevenson, peppering him with a jab, landing some lovely right hands down the pipe in round 7. After a fairly decent round 6, Stevenson looks like he's gassing in round 7. You know, his output drops, and it looks like he's struggling with the pace of the fight. And again, round 7, a clear Gvozdyk round. Round 8, Stevenson actually comes out aggressive, but Gvozdyk, you know, he nullifies Stevenson by making him miss, circling around him. Good counter rights from Gvozdyk. In round 8, Stevenson just completely outboxed. Round 9, Gvozdyk is actually caught with a couple of good left hands from Stevenson. He starts the round quite well, but Gvozdyk regains control, and again just outboxing Stevenson, making him miss, peppering him with a jab, landing some good counter right hands down the pipe. You know, round 9, again, another Gvozdyk round. Round 10, both guys start relatively low in terms of output, but Stevenson cracks Gvozdyk with a hard left hand, and I actually felt this should have also been a knockdown, because although Gvozdyk never hit the canvas, he literally bounced off the ropes and came back up. You know, I think if the ropes weren't there, I do feel he would have been dropped, so I felt that should have been a knockdown. And you know, Stevenson did hurt Gvozdyk in this round, and he smelt blood. He lands a couple of follow-up left hands, but Gvozdyk, you know, he fights his way out of trouble, and he defends himself well, and he ends the round very well. Lands a really good combination near the bell that hurts Stevenson. You know, that round 10 was a really, really good round. Round 11, both guys looked tired at this point, but it was clear that Stevenson was feeling the pace more, being the older man, and Gvozdyk, you know, he picks up the pace, landing some good jabs in round 11, much more aggressive in round 11, catches Stevenson with a right hand, which hurts him, and from that point onwards, it was basically an onslaught. Stevenson was badly hurt, went back to his corner, and Gvozdyk followed him. Stevenson was trapped in the corner. Gvozdyk was throwing a combination that culminated in a right hand that caught Adonis Stevenson bang on the chin, and that was all she wrote. You know, and now we have a new light heavyweight champion of the world. Really, really impressive performance from Oleksandr Gvozdyk. He did a really, really good job of nullifying the Stevenson left hand. Again, he did get caught with it a few times actually, but he took the shots very well. And that is what I was concerned about, you know. I wondered how his chin would stand up to the power of Adonis Stevenson, and he was only really hurt once in this fight. So, yeah, his chin did hold up, and, you know, fair play for him to show that. And mainly, he just boxed a really, really good fight, you know. And it was a thoroughly entertaining fight. Never been the biggest fan of Adonis Stevenson, to be quite honest, but I'll give him his credit. He did show heart in this fight. You know, he went out on his shield, and, you know, for a 41-year-old man, he still competed quite well. So credit to Gvozdyk for beating a dangerous guy like Stevenson. And I would like to see him unify, you know, fights with Artur Beterbiev, Dmitry Bivol, Elidia Alvarez. You know, these are great fights. As for Stevenson, is he going to retire at 41 years old? You know, he is past his best at this point. I would like to see him retire, to be quite honest. I don't think there's anything really out there for him. Maybe he could stick around for one more payday in Canada. Maybe him and Jean Pascal could fight, but I can't really see there being any options out there for Adonis Stevenson. And, you know, a few years ago we was all talking about Stevenson versus Kovalev, and, you know, both of these guys look like they're on the way out now. We never got that fight, and it feels like a case of out with the old and in with the new. You know, Kovalev could still be a part of the picture if he beats Elidia Alvarez in the rematch. There is a possibility of that, but, you know, I feel Kovalev is also on the way out. And I'm hoping these new guys, Gvozdyk, Bivol, Elidia Alvarez, and Beterbiev, I'm hoping these guys unify, because there are some great fights to be made in the light heavyweight division. I've got to be honest, I am kind of relieved that the Adonis Stevenson title reign is over. I felt he held that title up in Canada for far too long, fighting a low level of competition. So I'm not really a fan of Adonis Stevenson, but what I will say is, considering he still managed to draw with Badou Jack at 41 and compete quite well with Oleksandr Gvozdyk, he managed to do that at 41. What would have happened if this guy actually stepped up in his prime? You know, to me, Stevenson just feels like a wasted talent, and, you know, it's just not a good look. But whatever he does next, I wish him the best, and I'm looking forward to seeing Gvozdyk fight for best guys in the division. Share your thoughts below. I thoroughly enjoyed this fight. Peace.